eModels.co.uk. Make something awesome.
Hello, this is Simon, also known as Gundam UK, and this is the second part of my Zaku 2 Master Grade build exclusively for eModels.co.uk. And as you can see, I am doing a little bit of airbrushing here. Obviously I can't talk while I'm airbrushing because I have to wear a mask, but what I'm basically doing here is doing a post shade for some of the weapon parts. So just to recap, what I've done here is given everything a primer coat in black and then a base coat in black, and then I'm just going over the highlighted sort of central areas with these different greys just to give a nice kind of gradient effect, just give it a bit more depth. So I've finished blocking out all of the colours now on all of the weapons, and the next thing to do is to mask off a little bit more detail. I'm going to add a stripe here to the barrel of the bazooka. Maybe mask off this part here, just add a bit of colour contrast. The same for the barrel of the gun here. I want to make this end silver, so I'm going to mask that off and do something with the inside of this long barrel here. I'm also going to mask off just a bit of detail here on the bazooka again, and on the sight thing here. And I might add a little sort of circular masking pattern on this just to make it a little bit more visually interesting. There's some detail here on the heat hawk as well that I want to mask off. I've already masked off the cable here on the top, so that will remain black, and I'll maybe mask off some little parts on here, and of course going to mask off around where the blade meets the actual heat hawk itself, so I can do a nice gradient on here, maybe a nice sort of heated metal look, and yeah, let's see how that goes. So that's all my masking complete now for the weapons. You can see here I've just added just a little bit more detail, a little bit more contrast in the colour, just to bring out a bit more detail. I've painted in some tiny screw bits here and there and masked off some more detail. Same here on the main machine gun. Added a little pattern on top here, and I've just done the heat hawk as well. Just added kind of a glowing metal kind of fade here on the blade, just to kind of indicate that that's quite hot. And I've just finished applying a gloss varnish to these as well, so I can start adding some panel lines here and there just to again bring out some more detail. And then I've just got to seal that all in again, add some decals, seal it all again, and then perhaps do a bit of dry brushing here and there just to again just bring out some of the raised details. So for this piece I'm just going to do some very quick and very dirty panel lining using a inky pen here, and I'm just going to literally go over all of the edges in here much like a gunk wash, and just make sure I get lots of ink right into the edges here. There we go. And then let's zoom in a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Wait for the camera to stop wibbly bobbling, and then I just get an ordinary cotton bud here, and I'm just going to go over the top like so, and keep turning it over until it's cleaned up nicely, and we have a nice clean panel lines around the silver parts here. And there we go. Let's do the same on the other side. I like to get these kind of cotton buds with a nice tip on them, because you have a nice edge to work with here. That'll do. Let's do the same on the other side here. So again, I'm just going to get lots of ink into the edges here. And you'll have to forgive me because I'm doing this while looking through, or looking at the camera. so, so I have to coordinate my fingers with what's going on the screen. There we go. Now of course this isn't the perfect way to do panel lining. This is just a very quick and dirty way of doing it. You can of course use enamels. You can do a good old gunk wash using some Armour or something. But this is generally how I do it, just to save a bit of time and just give me a nice quick depth effect in those panel lines. There we go. Let's do the same for, say, the panels underneath here. Even though you're not going to see this, but this might be a good way of again illustrating how it works. Just get your pen and get right in there. You should use you can't just use any pen, of course. You have to use one that uses proper ink. None of this permanent marker Sharpie stuff, although you can try it if you want. I'm not sure how well it's going to work. And then again we're just going to go over it with a cotton bud. It's a good idea to keep changing these cotton buds. Just to make sure that they stay clean and don't just end up smearing all of the ink around. This is where it's very important to make sure you have a nice gloss layer over your paintwork before you do any panel lining, because otherwise it's going to get quite blotty and it's going to be very, very difficult to remove any kind of panel lining, even enamel panel lining. And there we go. I think that's pretty good. That'll do for now. Now I generally tend to just do this on like dark pieces. When it comes to light pieces, I'll definitely use like a enamel panel line wash, simply because the lines are a lot finer and you can see it a lot clearer sort of on lighter coloured paint jobs. If this was all light, of course, you might see a little bit of discoloration coming from the ink, so it's a good idea to just kind of keep this method to darker coloured stuff. So we are more or less done now with the weapons, so the next thing to do is to take this model apart and start painting it up. I think the first thing I'm going to do is take these legs off, maybe this waist section, and we're going to paint that first, and then of course we'll move on to the rest of it. So let's take these legs apart now and break these pieces up into their colour groups and get painting. So for the very high shine parts, what I've actually done here is just done a base coat of black enamel just to give a nice shiny and level finish, and then I'm going to go over it with Alclad 2 chrome just to make it super shiny, super special, and some parts in polished brass just to give a really nice high shine metallic finish. For the armour parts, what I've done is done a usual prime in white, and then I've done a pre-shade in hull red just to give it a nice bit of depth, and then after that I'm going to go over it in the first shade of red. So that's about it from me for now. In the next part I'll be adding some colour to the armour parts. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again next time. Bye bye.